There we go.
Hey.
Boom.
We're here.
That was so cool.
Yeah, did any of the viewers get to hear the groovy countdown?
Rex,
Yes.
Yeah, they can hear it.
You can?
will
Yeah.
hear it.
Anybody that caught in on those 30 seconds, we have like a full video, but we're tweaking the music and stuff with it right now. So I've just been doing the little 30-second.
We're in between videos right now.
Yeah. We do have an outro video that's pretty cool, but
Do
we're
we
still
then?
working on that. Yeah, we do.
God damn it.
Then just skip us. And
Thanks for being here. Time to go.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Click.
But no, this is awesome.
Great.
We're here with Rex and Christina from Big Stir Records. You guys know who they are. If you don't, I don't know, you're silly. Hey, there's Ryan. What's
Our
going
guests have come
on?
from Big Stir Records, so if you don't know who they are, you've heard a lot about them.
Yeah, we've talked to some good people. Dolph Cheney, Blake Jones, the brother Steve. That was one of the most fun. That was probably the most fun conversation.
John,
Stan Laurels, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll send more your way.
I'll take anyone. Anyone that I want to talk to. I want to talk to Chris Church sometime.
Oh, he's a very private man, Chris.
I understand. I get that vibe, but he's cool.
We'll work on that. We'll work on that. Cool. Wow, we got some cool. Hey, I am actually.
I can't see that.
Wearing a Chris Church t-shirt.
Hey, there you go. I love that album. Thank you so much for sending that one out. That was
Our pleasure.
It's gonna be there. You haven't heard the last from Chris this year.
This year, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's news.
Oh, he's on our record too.
Yeah. Yes. The Arm Wars, obviously. That's a fantastic album, you guys. You guys are crazy.
Thank you.
Not only do you run the label, you record your own music and you're on the label as well as artists. You started the whole thing. Like the Arm Wars are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And you pulled the wool over everyone's eyes with your incognito, except me, because you told me about it, and I was sworn to secrecy. And I'm proud to say I did not let it slip.
Very few that knew what was going on. And I don't know. Should we try to explain that?
Yes, do it, please, for the love of God. Do it.
What are we doing?
Ryan's here. He says he's behaving tonight. We'll see how long that takes.
We'll see, Ryan. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Christina has a copy of it right here.
There you go. I gotta grab mine. Boom. That's good.
For while the pandemic raged, and we tried to figure out how best to serve the artists and the fans in this whole new context and stuff like Chris's album and Dolph's album. Those were all born of the pandemic as well. Mm-hmm. And we thought some of the coolest stuff we were hearing was people who were kind of letting the new reality sort of guide their process a little bit, which Chris definitely did. And Dolph's album grew out of doing his live streaming shows. Mm-hmm. And we just started, we wanted to do this record that was the whole band live in the studio, or as close to it as we could get. That was our vibe for the next record. And obviously that was not going to happen.
Nope.
So bit by bit, we just started recording things to keep ourselves sane. Yeah, because we were, full bore into figuring out how this whole thing worked during the pandemic. So go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, and people were throwing covers our way to do, and
that was the start of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we weren't like brilliant at home recording yet. We had some basic engineering, and we like to write and we like to arrange and we like to play live. Right. And that little bit in the middle where you actually make the record was historically not as fun for us as it is for most people. It's just, we had people helping us, and we started to figure it out, to get away from the business side of things, because that was so intense, the business and how it interacted with.
And then we started using our credit cards to get more gear.
Yeah. I mean, here's one big thing. That drum kit in our band room typically had to be broken down and taken out for a gig at least once or twice a month, if not for a whole tour.
We ended up hiring the world famous drum doctor to come and tune them.
Yeah, and we bought it so and they didn't have to. We could just leave the mics set up and like tweak them and stuff like that. So and then we started talking with our buds who are really good at this kind of stuff, like the Michael Simmonses and the Nick Fraters, and Karen Bassett's, and they were like, no, you're pretty close. Just move that thing, and we got nice new mics, and all of a sudden we actually could record drums.
Nice.
And edit them, and I just got better. We just had time to get better at doing all the tech stuff, and
I think they're interested in how we pulled this whole thing off.
I'm interested in both. I like them.
Yeah, well, we
want to hear everything.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, we didn't have a record to do. We didn't want to. We didn't want to do the songs that were supposed to be on the the just back it out record. So what did we do? We started
recording covers.
And then
so we're like, well, we have all these demos that we did that nothing ever came of, and let's revisit those. And Rex is like, we can't do anything with that. I don't know where it's supposed to go. And then all of a sudden he come back the next day and he's like, I know exactly where this is going. So we, because we started recording.
And I mean, and then as it kind of went on, we were like, well, the reason we haven't done these particular tunes, and there are a couple new things, a couple specific things, but mostly it was sort of songs that we'd written a while ago.
Way back when.
And it was kind of like when we didn't know what the band was going to be, and it never seemed like, so all of a sudden it was like, well, maybe it's not. I mean, maybe it's not the Armoires per se, and maybe the first time people hear these, it actually is kind of like, it actually is kind of like an art rock band, or it kind of is a country band, or it kind of is, I don't know, what else did we do?
There's some punk on there too. You got all sorts. You got everything on that.
There's some cowpunk. There's us digging into that X sound that. And
bluegrass.
Yeah, there's
bluegrass. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we're just like, okay, we're now doing all this stuff that doesn't seem necessarily like what our band does.
Right.
And then is it an album? It's kind of a weird thing to do for an album.
Yeah, and then he says, let's put them out as fake bands.
Because we're like, hey, what is we run the label? We don't run a label that's just like our band. It's a real label. So, and there's a new single from these awesome artists every week.
I'm like, how is that going to work, Rex? I mean,
I was like, but nobody's going to notice. I mean, because
nobody's going to notice. But the first time the Armoires get played on Little Steven's Underground Garage by Rodney Bingenheimer, it's a fake band.
It's a fake band. Yeah.
It's not the Armoires.
And they were on charts. We were on top these fake bands, and we wrote bios for them all. They all had fake backstories.
Right, yeah.
Most of their pets are in them too.
Yeah. I mean, the first one, it was sort of like, well, what do we call the singers for this? Well, it's a guy and a girl, and so it's it's always going to be a band that has a guy, these different genres, but it's always a guy, and a girl, and a viola player. Right. We're just like, people are going to figure this out, so it might as well get stupider and stupider. A lot of people didn't, though.
I was going to say, how many did? Did anybody say, Rex? Come on. We knew it was you the whole time.
There were, and a few of them it was more obvious. A few of them we kind of copped to as they came out, but I don't know if anyone figured the whole thing.
Just to refresh your memory.
Yeah. These were all the fake bands.
The fake bands.
That's right.
There was October Surprise, which was kind of like.
That's right. That was the first one, right?
First one, and that was kind of like it's sort of an art rock thing with the John Cale cover. DFE, which we called that Sunshine Sludge. It was kind of like creepy and crazy horsey, and yet with our weird harmonies over top of it. Chassis System. This was the rootsy thing, and the backing band on one of those is not even us. It's Larissa's band, Christina Larissa's bluegrass band.
They're called the Old Corn Lickers.
They're called what?
The Old Corn Lickers. Elderly people who lick corn, I guess. You'd have to ask them. That's one weird thing that we can't take responsibility for. And then we get to the point where we're like, all right, let's just have a cartoon band. Let's just be
just right here's a different one. Yeah.
Why not? I mean,
And that became Rodney Bingenheimer's favorite band.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, it is. This Tina and the Tiny Potatoes. This was released for Christina's
I like that one.
birthday.
That was a good band. Yeah.
That was a good. These you can't if you get a little bit closer.
That
we tried to
is
make it
me.
look like like a vintage new wave reissue, but that's because these are actually pictures of Christina from like 1984. There was one version of this where I actually found other band members that just looked like they were in the Knack or something, but ultimately it's just a bunch of Christina.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Tina and the Tiny Potatoes. Tiny Potatoes because my last name in Ukrainian means little potato.
Yeah,
Really? That's hilarious.
Yeah. The Zed cats. These are actually are Christina's cats here.
Yeah,
They're so much bigger now.
They were just brand new.
they were. Last time I talked to you, they were just babies.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
not babies
they're
yet.
Oh, babies.
Yeah.
Ziggy and Zorro.
Ziggy and Zorro.
Yeah.
Or sort of glam rock thing. I actually the song that Oma Bring Your Light to This Place. I was like trying to explain this to you without really explaining it the last time we talked. This weird song that was just a bunch of lyrics that were kind of like for like I remember you saying there was I remember saying that the lyrics were written for a symphonic metal band.
Right. Yes.
And I was like, so to explain that, you were like, well, it's wizards and shit. I'm like, yeah, wizards and shit. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So Larissa, my daughter, who's the viola player in the band, who's also in the bluegrass band, was also
And a metal band.
it's a symphonic metal band, and they didn't have any songs yet. They could jam.
They had like structures, yeah.
But they were looking for something epic and something sort of
like a mythology type thing.
Myth-driven, yeah.
But they were like, everything's been done. Everybody's done Tolkien. Everybody's done, Norse. Everybody's done.
So this one sits down and in like 10 minutes comes up with this this 2-page
Full backstory.
lyrics
Yeah.
with this story.
I was drunk.
But it was based on Nausicaa. Do you guys know Miyazaki?
Like
Studio Ghibli movies.
Spirited
They're
Away
animated.
and those things.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the same guy, yeah.
They're brilliant.
And so I just wrote this weird story, and then they didn't make the band. And so that was the weirdest to me, like of all the stuff that we were digging out of the archives. Christina's like, well, why don't we do this one? It just holds up, and it's just words, and it's not like a verse and a chorus, like our normal stuff is. And I was like, what are we gonna do with that? And she said, didn't you think it kind of was like Bowie, like sort of like Spiders from Mars era Bowie? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's see what happens. And then we got into it. We're like, okay. And it was way off the map for us. And it was just so much fun to do. It was like really a lot of fun to do.
It was. And then there's Gospel Swamps, Gospel Swamps is Gospel Swamp was the name of
Gospel Swamps, yeah.
With
The
an
plural,
S.
yeah.
Was the name of the town that John Borak lives in now.
In Orange County, of all places.
In Orange
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Gospel Swamps, California. What?
It was
It
called
that,
Fountain
but
Valley
it's
now.
Fountain Valley now. They've changed the name.
Huh.
But
That's better than Gospel
Oh,
You can't beat that. Why would you change that name?
Swamps.
I
That's
don't know.
Right?
amazing.
But Rex painted that, drew it and painted it, and we
Yeah, we drew it. We were drawing shit. I drew 2 of those. Larissa did a watercolor for one of them. Yeah.
October Surprise was Larissa's watercolor.
Joe
Oh,
Chet,
yeah.
of course, did the cartoon band because
Yeah.
that's what he does. It's the guy by
And
Jamie
then
Sarver.
this here. This
That's from the quarantine.
Oh,
session.
and that was from the quarantine sessions.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I heard that one.
The
That was way back.
the digital mini album, I guess it was.
It was like a compilation album.
A compilation, yeah. It was called Quarantine Sessions. It was put
Steve
together.
Coulter from Brother Steve came up with this idea like in the first month of.
He recorded in his garage a drum track and sent it to 20 people.
And it was a really shitty drum track. The drum playing itself wasn't shitty, but it was like recorded into a phone or something.
Yeah.
The idea was it was going to stay lo-fi like that, and everyone invited to participate had to use his drums.
And everybody came back with something that was completely different from the next thing with the same drum track.
That's crazy.
I think his feeling was that the early weirdness of the pandemic, and he was listening to a lot of like, Pavement and Sebadoh and Guided by Voices, and he was like, that's the vibe right now, confused and grungy, and you can't really tell what's happening. So he just wanted to have a bunch of his friends and artists that he really respected do that.
And then raised $500 for Sweet Relief Musicians Fund.
Wow.
It was a surprise release, digital only, and in one day we raised $500.
Oh, nice.
And now on the tail end of it, Steve's working on the book. They're about to release that book. I don't know if you've seen this. The
Go Further.
Go Further. It's the second.
Yeah. I saw you post that. I wrote a thing for it, and
on
Rickenbacker guitars, and Coulter wrote one, and John Borak wrote one on a band called the Shivers. It was kind of a band that should have been huge out of Milwaukee. In
Madison, I think.
I've checked. It's Milwaukee.
I'm wrong.
Female-fronted kind of power pop band, could have been huge, and so because John wrote the piece on that, and he's our drummer, and I wrote the piece on Rickenbacker, so we did a duo of Christina singing the song and me playing keys, and we did playing the Rickenbacker with John introducing us, so it kind of all made sense. Pooch is in that book too, right?
Yes.
But our Pooch from the Condors,
one of the co-founders of Big Stir Records,
and Flipside Fanzine way back in the day. So he's like a real writer. So I had to.
He has an English degree, so
yeah. And it's funny. Pooch he's a real rock and roll guy, but he's the first to like bust you for the most minute of grammatical errors.
Wonderful! I love it.
We love it. He's in Nashville now.
Oh, there you go.
He moved to Nashville. He was in LA forever when he was writing Flipside. And
his wife, her job moved there, so he transferred. But he's having a good time there.
Yeah,
it's good.
Nashville's a really cool place. Like
isn't
it? It's not what you expect, because you always, I always grew up thinking that Nashville was like this had to be like this super hick type of, that's where all this country music was coming from. So you just assume that it's all cowboys everywhere. It's such a cool, it's such a diverse place. It's not anything like what I expected it. And I apologize for my little attention hog over here. He decided he needed to come eat my hand.
Delightful.
We're animal people here, all of us. Yeah.
Anyways, I guess we got further and further. Once we started it, started putting out these singles, these fake band singles, and it would be like, there were 4 singles a month from different bands, so we would just sneak one in and make up the story.
We were always at 0.5, right?
Not always, yeah.
Mostly.
0.5s are the in-between singles, by the way. That's like internal. And at that point, it was like, we decided the release date before the whole thing started. We're starting in Halloween, and then we would do the big deal on April Fool's Day.
Right. Yeah.
We're screwed. We got to. I guess not, because if we had just not done it, if we had just not put the record out, no one would have even known.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No one would have known.
We could have pulled out at the last minute, abort, and
we're not doing that.
DFE.
Yeah. We would have gotten away with it. But the closer it got, the more we liked it. We actually did have fun.
Yeah.
We had fun making this record.
We did.
Well, like you said, that's the advantage too. Maybe not the advantage, but how did you're like, okay, how is it to write an album knowing that you're putting it out on the label that you run? Is it totally freeing, or is it like shit?
This one was freeing.
Yeah.
Because
This
we
one was
didn't,
freeing.
Because you got to pretend to be all these other people for so long.
Yeah,
that would be the most fun ever. Like, it's almost like that whole when Garth Brooks did that whole movie character thing, and it was just so weird and out there. It's like it'd be kind of I get to pretend to be somebody else like 8 different times. This is gonna be cool.
Yeah, and we didn't have to. I mean, we usually are a band that plays live so much that we're would have been planning to go out and play, so we wouldn't have been able to do all that pretending. It would have just been us.
Yeah.
So without that pressure, and not even having to dress up or anything, like we just put different people's pictures on there.
Yeah.
It could be anyone, or Christina from 3 or 4 years earlier, the 80s, or so
The 80s,
yeah. So,
but now we have the opposite problem because we recorded all of them in pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we haven't practiced as a band in over a year.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
So we're going to perform these things. We're like, so the pressure's on. The pressure's on for them to sound good.
It's
you
not
gotta
just
practice.
Yeah, a lot of bands are going to have this issue.
Yes.
But we cranked out a giant amount of material. So I mean, who knows what our set list is going to look like the next time we do it. Plus, I mean, as soon as we start doing it, we're going to want to start working on new stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
And we didn't. But one of the freeing things about it too is that as a band that usually plays live a lot, we're always kind of I don't want to say limiting ourselves to stuff that can be reproduced live, because that's not a good way to look at it. But we're always conscious of the fact that we're doing things that we should be able to do on stage, because that's what people are going to want to hear.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
This stuff, we were just like, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
Whatever.
We'll maybe do some of these live. We'll add some of these depending on what, probably we'll just get together and jam.
You'll just be so happy to get together and jam and get
yeah,
it won't matter if you play anything off Incognito or fucking anything else.
No, that's
as long as you're playing. But that is funny. A lot of people sit there and they'll sit there and hammer all this stuff out in the studio, like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I can't play that live.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
We're like, I guess, we don't have the orchestra on this one, I mean,
No, but it took me like 4 days to learn that one piano part for the video that we did.
Yeah, that's true.
I wrote it. I recorded it. I arranged it.
And then we played it once. And that was it, and that was the thing. We played a lot. I mean, because we're working on this stuff, but until like a month ago, we had not played one song straight
together.
All together. Or even like, I don't even know if I've ever like played and sang an entire song, myself even, really.
And after that video, his fingers had little equal signs on them.
Yeah.
From
like most people just get the groove in there, but because I always play 12 string, I actually have like, hey, it's like equal signs. But it's gonna be interesting getting the sea legs back, I guess.
Yeah. It'll be good. There's that for quite frequently.
Oh, who fucking doesn't?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, there you go.
Hey.
Good day, sir.
Yeah.
I can't play that line.
We know.
Yeah. I just did a live set on our last
your monthly big stir.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was cool to see. Those have been.
So are you gonna keep those going that way, like in that
I
format?
that one this month. We're hoping to get back out in the world at some point.
It's tough. Those were really neat, and people enjoyed them a lot. We felt like right now we're in this period where people aren't necessarily ready to get back out there completely, but they're also tired of looking at screens. And sorry, guys, I'm looking at a screen right now.
No offense, yeah.
No, but like getting out to hear music out in the real world rather than watching it. on the screen.
So we may do another one. But the other thing is just that this month we're really busy. I mean, like even by our standards,
We have
exciting
news.
That's what come on.
Yeah, we can tell some of it.
Well, I saw was the status saying, "Hey, you might notice that some of our stuff's gone from streaming services," and I was like, "What? Why?" It's announcement coming soon. It's like
it's pretty much back now, and if you,
can I say? I want to say.
Yeah, because the reason we've been quiet is that.
Can I say?
We've been doing things behind the scenes that have taken away from our usual kind of stuff. And I'll throw it to the lovely Christina too.
We're going to be distributed by The Orchard, the indie arm of Sony.
Holy shit!
We're moving our entire catalog over to them as we speak.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a kind of an invitation-only thing that has been a goal of ours for a long time. And, John knows, but he hasn't been publicly said.
Wow.
And so it puts us on a really cool next level. I mean, and now that we've kind of said the name. You'll start noticing when you go to like see YouTube videos, you'll see, video provided by the Orchard. They really are.
We have a label manager now.
We actually have someone who talks to us as opposed to waiting for a bot to email us back, and we just feel like we've grown up. We got our big boy pants on now, and people are receiving respect.
Well, you know what though? If there's anybody in this fucking game that deserves that,
absolutely,
and the respect, it's you two, because you guys bust your asses for everybody on your label, and I swear to God, I've talked to some shitbags on labels that have labels rather, and you two are not them. You guys are awesome, so that's well deserved. Congratulations.
Always had the goal to be just keep moving ourselves forward so that the artists also get that respect, because
it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of pressure because you're releasing this album that is fantastic, and the people the artists behind it are fantastic people, and you're like, well, we have to work 7 days a week, 24/7. We can't sleep. We can't take weekends off. We have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
What you missed Twitter today? You've got to get back on there.
Yeah. We have. I mean, publicly, it must have been. Even compared to like a holiday or something, it's about as quiet as we've ever been, and so much of that has to do with the fact that it's 50 some albums and 100 and some singles that we've put out over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
All have to be taken down and remanicured and come back better. And then there have been more outlets than ever before.
We've been in spreadsheet hell.
Yeah.
Dolph Chaney, God bless his soul.
We absolutely have to give it to Mr. Chaney, who's not only a musical artist. But
he said, I do spreadsheets for a living, right? I'm really good at inputting data. I go really fast. It's like 60 words a minute. Do you guys need help? We're like,
what?
Yeah. So Dolph did a lot of and then he went on vacation, so we're having to do a little bit of cleanup at the end of it. But we should be,
He's so sweet.
When they're done with it, Ryan, Jesus, not now.
Ryan, you need to settle down a little.
Should we rub the lotion on our bodies?
Yes.
He's trying to behave tonight. I don't know.
He's doing very well.
He's
doing very well, Ryan. I'm proud of you, Ryan. There you go.
We are very proud of you, Ryan.
Damn it.
But yeah, it's been like the most, it's data. It's data and uploading and
Metadata and megadata.
It's mega meta. It's all that stuff. So all the stuff that is, but I mean, like the thing is though, like, you know, it also, I don't know if this, you have to tell me if this is your experience too. It's required us to go back through everything and re-experience the entire story from one release to the next.
Yeah.
To the next, and the other stuff that was going on, you know, at the same time, you know, from when we started, which we were in the middle of this when we saw, like, you know, the Facebook memory that said, you know, this is what you're doing 4 years ago. And it was a flyer for a gig at Joe's.
In tiny letters.
In tiny, you can see because the first record we put out was Plastic Souls Therapy.
Yes.
So
You love, right? Yeah.
So it was Plastic Soul and the Armoires and someone else on the bill, Trotsky Ice Pick, actually. Trotsky and in little letters, it was like, you know, Big Stir Live, and it was like album release party for Plastic Soul Therapy, and then like tour launch. We'll get to that in a second, and then record label launch, like really small.
Yeah.
And then the next day I saw that there was a Facebook memory of us and Stephen Wilson in the airport because we literally played that show, launched the label,
and left for England.
For a 14-day tour with 3 bands. So that was 4 years ago. And then as we've gone through this reconstructing it, it's like, oh yeah, you know, we did
Look
that.
what you've done. Look what you've done in 4 years.
My God, what have we done?
Right.
You know, it definitely.
And it's really,
Well, think about where you're going to be next year now at this point.
Right.
Look where you're at right in this moment with the work ethic you guys have been doing. Now you get a little bit of help. But like, holy shit. Good.
We know a few things that are going to happen. What were you going to say, Christina?
are we allowed to?
That? No, we're
No.
not. No.
Okay.
Oh, God damn it. Next time.
Next time we'll talk about that one.
That's gonna open up a whole new world for these guys too.
Mhm. And more promo materials.
There is definitely some more big news coming, and then the next few releases we have. I mean, we're really stoked with this. To be getting a Finnish pop supergroup out there right now with the Babblers record.
I love that record. That's amazing.
And
Ryan's funny.
Yeah, Ryan's the man.
And then there's the next few releases after that are some really cool stuff too. There's some stuff we're really
You just put out that single on vinyl. God damn it! What is the
the
name?
Nelson Bragg thing? Yeah,
Nelson Bragg. That's cool.
That was very cool.
That's damn.
You know, Nelson. Had you ever heard of Nelson before?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
He toured with the Brian Wilson Band for 14 years as their drummer percussionist.
Yeah.
And Nelson unwittingly is a big part of the Big Stir story, even though he wasn't there for any of it, because there are a lot of people in our world that are big fans of Brian. Obviously, these boys are a huge influence in a lot of our bands, and they all knew Nelson as the percussion player in Brian's band. In England, they knew him, and around here, he's an LA artist. And when we first started going out, people thought I was Nelson.
Nice.
And
So, when we played this gig at the Cavern Pub, I think it was, or we went to see it before we had the gig the next night. So we went to the Cavern Pub
in Liverpool
doing the IPO festival, and we walk in, and there's a person on the stage, and he goes,
well, it was a band. I like annoyed you because I was like, we've been playing gigs, and I was like, oh, but I just read about these guys. They sound really cool. You know, Spy Genius says they're like influenced by and Robin Hitchcock, and you know, it's a little break from everyone sounding exactly like the Beatles. So let's go check that out. So
how was that annoying? You said that you would annoy me.
Oh, I think the reason. Yeah, what I meant by that was we had just been going. We'd seen like a million of bands, and Norman Perry, our host, was like, "I got to take you guys down to actually show you some of the city." And I was like, "Yeah, but bands,
Oh, yeah.
And Christina was like, "Come on, we're here. We got to see some stuff." And I was like, "But bands."
Very little sightseeing. But walk in and they're doing some. What were they doing? They were doing a punk song.
Well, they're kind of. I mean, I think like sometime around there, one of the first songs that we heard all the way through was "Snakes Were Decked with Smiles."
No, they were doing a cover. They were doing a cover when we walked in. Anyway, I can't remember what it was now. But the moment we walk in, they stop and Peter. It's by Genius, and Peter walks from the stage, looks out, and goes, "Is that bastard that looks like Nelson Bragg again?"
Nelson wears similar shirts too, so like people.
You didn't have a chance. Yeah.
Brother Brian Wilson Band had been touring like right before that, so people actually were like, "Well, Nelson just must have come back over here," and they kind of like were perplexed. But yeah, that was the whole thing. And then he was like, I can't get Nelson to answer my Facebook friend requests. Don't know what's wrong. And I'm like, well, I'm Facebook friends with him. I'll talk to him. And this is like they're playing. They're on stage, and this conversation occurs. And we came down from the street into this very dimly lit place. So like later on, the first thing I remember is we went in there and we heard a band that sounded great, and the guy kind of like insulted me, but Britishly.
Yeah, so it was friendly.
So it was okay.
So it was okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it might have even been a worse word than bastard. But then, as he would later describe it after many years later, because then by the time we went back to England next time, we toured with them and played with them, and then they ended up starting the Big Stir live shows in South London.
And we put out their.
So he recounts it though. We entered with like light shining behind us, like he just looked over and like his eyes were kind of like adjusting to it, and we were sort of like silhouetted like Paisley,
Yeah.
Like we looked super Californian basically because the sunshine was beaming through our hair, and there we were. So I was like, I don't know. I thought he was kind of pissed off at us, but I guess he was kind of stunned. Anyway.
And then my next experience was we were at Molly Malone's, and we were there to see another band. And there was a woman that just kept looking at Rex and like turning away and walking away and coming back and starting to say something and turning away and walking away. And she she goes, "Excuse me, but is that Nelson Bragg?" Like, no, it's not.
Sorry, no.
It's that all the time.
Yeah, and there was eventually a moment when someone mistook Nelson for me, and I sort of was like, "I've arrived."
So then we were in the same place at the same time, so I took a picture of both of them and sent it out. So and then, really are two different people.
Actually, the funniest thing about that was like we were in a place, and Nelson had a copy of his album, which has a picture of him looking at himself. It's like you could look this up. It's a really great record too, and so it's a picture of Nelson like looking at Nelson. So I'm in this picture, and then Nelson's there, and we're holding up the picture of Nelson looking at himself, and there's actually a mirror behind us. So I was sort of like, this is like Nelsonception at this point, it's just So yeah, Nelson has been moving things for Big Stir before he even knew it. So
yeah. Good for him. That's awesome. No, it's fun.
Here's that Plastic Soul record right here. And there it is, where it all started.
There it is.
There
it started.
That's such a great album.
Yeah,
it's such a great album.
So yeah, but then we got a couple of things. There's going to be a few more few more big vinyl things
that we can't talk about yet.
Don't have to talk about it. You said vinyl. You have my attention.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff going on before the end of the year. Sure.
No, that's awesome. You guys deserve all the success in the world. So that's huge. Good for you. God damn it.
Ew.
Good for you. Seems like self-brokerage.
Yeah. But I mean, it's already been a really cool year. I mean, even like aside from these new happenings, I mean, starting off, and it's very cool to see John Lathrop in here because we started the year with that Stan Laurel's record, and it was just kind of perfect. It was just really the record that was needed at the time.
Yes, 100%.
And then Dolph's. Dolph got a new. I mean, like, like a year ago when the pandemic hit, and we couldn't even really decide whether we should be whether we should be trying to do what we're doing. Dolph's record was at the pressing plant.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, well, I don't know if anyone, because everyone was out of work. Were they going to have money to spend on music? Everyone's just distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to want music that's purely escapist? We didn't know, but we're like, but Dolph, we got to put Dolph's record out.
Sorry, Dolph.
We just bought it for him, and we all put all this money and effort into it. So it's like, and then we realized, well, we could wait, and then we're like, shit, more stuff is going to pile up.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden we're releasing 8 things at a time.
And maybe people really want music right now when they're this doom, so.
Yeah. And the Dolph's record at that time, it's hard to even though it wasn't that long ago, he was not like a known quantity in our world, and we just like really super believed in him and thought he was just like that it was gonna. It's Dolph. It is Dolph.
It's Dolph. Yeah, it's Dolph.
And we were like,
Dolph Cheney. Look him up, Ryan. Dolph Cheney. CH.
Don't always get to introduce. I guess it's probably yourself. No, that's not. We don't always get to like introduce, because a lot of times we've been really fortunate that like established artists have and Dolph's an established artist in many respects, but on the scene that we kind of represent, he wouldn't have been someone that people knew about. And we were just like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna we're gonna break an artist.
No, and I talk about that. I talk about that a lot with your guys' bands. Like, just literally, you emailed me saying you have samplers. I emailed back saying yes, please, and then it's just been a fucking steady stream. And I'm not complaining. It's perfect. But like every album that I've got is incredible. And that's what I needed during the pandemic, was something like that,
and that's the way it worked out.
Yeah, we're incredibly proud of our catalog.
You should be. You damn well should be. Now the Orchard can get a taste of it and see what the hell they can do. Well, it's good. That's a lot of work, but like, Jesus, talk about leveling up a bit, you guys. That's awesome.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I mean, we had time to explore what we were doing, but we used every last minute almost of that time, because it wasn't just like doing the regular promo push. It was figuring out how to fit, what people were wanting, what people were eating, and making decisions of, do we do this, do we do that? We didn't do any of the live streaming, performance stuff until Irene came on board and had that context for it already. We just thought we had to choose, a path, right. And that path was full bore into promoting and finding new ways to get music to people that worked for them. And it was kind of magical. I mean, like, Dolph's record was really perfect, and then I think the Corner Laughers was the next one that came out after that, and that one was kind of a record that was done before the pandemic. This was really weird. That you're hearing the record before it's released. We do that all the time, but for the world to shift so radically between the first time you hear the record and then when it comes out, and even in that case, it was a case of we had needed to write the press and figure out what shape it took, and it was soul searching, for
yeah, there was a thin line of like, you have to be really sensitive because we were feeling it too, and we didn't know if we were going to come across as just insensitive or, we had to be there for the artists too, because their dream was to put this record out and that, and the next one and the next one. And we had to honor that too. So it was, it was.
And you can remember people were like, well, it'll be over in a month or two or something. And the more it became clear that was not the case, the more you were sort of like, well, we've got to deliver things to the world as it is, and we've got to connect these records to people in ways that are meaningful like that,
And then we had this.
Oh yeah,
pre-pandemic.
Oh yes,
pre-pandemic, and then not knowing how to put that out because there was nothing in it about a pandemic, but it was. But there's, but that's explained.
Yeah. So yeah, it was
difficult times.
It was difficult, but I feel really fortunate.
Difficult, but I think that you may not have had the time to make the moves that you did make.
Yeah.
You didn't slow down, and you had to get creative and pivot and think of other ways to do this shit. If you were just carrying on doing the, maybe, who knows, right? You got to take the positive. I know it's always been the vision to grow and everything like that, but like you may not have had the time to, like you said, exhaust every last possibility of what you want to do and spend every last minute thinking what you're going to do.
Awesome. That is absolutely true.
We always talk about silver linings. We always
silver linings.
Them. And that is one of them. We had the time to do it.
And there was another just self-care moment, I guess. Before the sort of version of that, before we started kind of channeling it into making what turned into a record, was that we kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, we can. It's a big challenge to tackle this, but we're gonna do it. And then we were just sort of said to each other, thank God we have something to do. And it's something meaningful.
We were so grateful to be that busy because we were so worried about everybody else, isolated and not going to work anymore, laid off, not being able to see family or friends. And so we just,
the responsibility was daunting, but the responsibility also meant you couldn't just slack.
No.
You could, in fact, you had to double down, and we had to, level up.
Yeah.
Double down and level up. I like that.
There you go. I like that.
All those little cliches,
Double down and level up.
And we were like, okay, so we're gonna go. If we go insane, it'll be not from being stir crazy. This is a stupid word. But not from the frustration of not doing anything. It'll be from doing too much, and that seemed better. We talked about being grateful for the responsibility.
Yeah,
because
a lot.
When you take that responsibility for the artist seriously, you can't give yourself a pass. You can't just be like, what's on Netflix, and we were grateful for that.
Well, I know that, I know all the artists are grateful for you. Absolutely. Putting them on your back and just pushing through and keeping going. Like you said, what are you going to say to Dolph? Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Not gonna bother, or sorry, John, we can't. You guys took it. You ran with it, and I think you're all the better for it now. Everybody's better off for what you've done for them.
And there were things too. It had to be experimental. And, because you couldn't. There's no way of. They're like, oh, okay. Well, here's the Oh, it says right here, in case of global pandemic for a year. You know,
Simple. Yeah, no problem.
the music industry's
Here's
not
what you do.
enough, you know.
Need some kind of handbook.
Some kind of handbook, yeah.
Seems like some.
And we
Thank you,
went
Ryan.
to thank you, Ryan.
Damn straight, dude.
And I think you know, there's things that we didn't get right.
Yeah.
You know,
Doesn't matter.
there's always
Yeah.
something.
There was no rule book, you know, so we had to learn.
Yeah.
And did anything create? Was there ever like 2 weeks in a row where something completely insane didn't happen last year?
No.
No.
We don't want to think.
It's
back
just
on
been ever since.
It's right now we're kind of like
It's
I know-
leveling off now a little bit.
I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like,
I don't want to. Yeah, I mean,
oh, it's getting better. Never mind.
Right?
yeah,
There's
exactly.
always something.
But we, you know, I definitely know that. I definitely know that, like,
Love Beetlejuice.
there were times when, well, like right now, like it's better enough that when you think back on what actually, I wrote the liner notes for. Oh, you know what? We can show this. It's not.
Oh.
Yeah, here's a brand new one. I think you've already got this.
I got
one.
that.
This we haven't
It's
announced
not out
this
yet.
But
There you go.
this collection of singles is very specifically the ones from October and November of last year. And at that point, artists were really responding. You know, the albums were all, the full-length albums obviously were prepared beforehand and take a long time. But with the singles, the artists are able to just be like, I'm pissed off about this, and I wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
Or this thing was just experience, you know, just happened. Yeah, October, when you think about like last October, like sort of, you know, coming out of the summer and into that election cycle, and then the election cycle that didn't end. You can feel it on this thing. And when I had to write the liner notes, I could go from like this single was released, you know, the first week of October and the second, and I could map it onto the crazy things that were happening. And you know,
Yeah, we don't know the PTSD that's going to be that we're all going to be experiencing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and what were we just saying? Like, do we even like the stuff that we thought we liked? I mean, like, you know,
That's right. Maybe this whole thing sucks. Yeah.
we're like, you know, you go out to, like, Christina's husband was just saying that he like went inside a bar just to pick up some food
And the
for the
noise.
first time, and it was like not even that many people in the bar. Like, he just said like the noise was kind of annoying, and I'm like, yeah, do we actually like that? I mean, do we actually like being around people?
I kind of like not being around people, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can choose now what from our former life we want to go back to. And what
That's
like,
right. Silver lining.
Right? It's silver lining. No, he said there was.
Sorry, guys. You know what? I fucked up. I lost track of time here, as I do, talking to you guys. We are going to turn into pumpkins now. No, but congratulations.
Oh, okay.
Thank you
Congratulations
so much.
on the orchard, you guys. We'll get you
That's
back
awesome.
again.
Absolutely. We have much to share with you in the
Yes.
future.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, let us know when you come back, and we'll do it again anytime.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much, both of you.
BigStirRecords.com, Ryan. BigStirRecords.com. Pull up the
Yeah,
fucking credit card and get to it, my man. Go for
Aw.
it.
fine physical and digital products.
That's right.
Yes.
Whatever you want. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, you guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Sarah's radio shows in 3 minutes on SLEradio.com. I lost track of time.
Woo.
Bam. Check
Here
it
we
out.
go.
Bye, guys.
Thanks. Take care, guys.